So continuing on with section 8.1, this is where we left off. There's just a couple more examples of some different types of reflections. So the first one, since yesterday, maybe you're watching these on the same day, in the first part of the video, you talked about reflecting over an x or a y axis. Now in example 3, we're reflecting a figure over a horizontal or vertical line that isn't the x or the y axis. So on letter C, it says trapezoid RSTV has vertices R, negative 1, 1, S, 4, 1, T, 4, negative 1, and V, negative 1, negative 3. Graph the trapezoid RSTV and the reflection over the line y equals negative 3 of RSTV. So I'm going to start by just graphing RSTV to start with. So I'm going to plot all of those points. So R is at negative 1, 1. So I go back 1, up 1. There's R. S is at 4, 1. So over 4, up 1. There's S. T is at 4, negative 1. And then V is at negative 1, negative 3. So here you have kind of this lopsided trapezoid once you connect all 4 of those points. So you are graphing this over, or reflecting this, over the line y equals negative 3. So it's been a minute since you guys have graphed just straight lines. What that means is you are drawing a straight line that crosses through negative 3 on the y-axis. So as a reminder, here's your x-axis, here's your y-axis. So I'm going to find negative 3 on the y-axis. Here it is. I am not drawing a vertical line through that. I am drawing a horizontal line through that. That becomes my line of reflection. That's my mirror in this problem. If you draw a vertical line, all you're doing is copying the y-axis, which is not what this is asking you to do. So now, because that's really the trickiest part of this, is just figuring out what the line of reflection is, where your mirror is. Now, you're doing exactly what you did on the last problems where you just reflected over the x and y axis. You're just doing it with a different line. So, for example, V is already on the line. That means its reflection is also on the line. So I'm going to label that V prime. Now I'm counting how far away R is from my line of reflection. It is 1, 2, 3, 4 units away. So I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4 units and put R prime there. S is 1, 2, 3, 4 units away. So I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4 and label that S prime. T is 1, 2 units away. So I'm going to count 2 units down and label that T prime. Then I'm going to connect all 4 of those, and it should look like a mirror image over that line. Just as a quick note, there isn't, like when we did X and Y, when we talked about reflecting over the X and the Y axis, there are some shortcuts that you can do, like in this table up here, using coordinate pairs to figure out your new image. You can do that when you're reflecting over another horizontal or vertical line, but it is a little bit tricky. So I would suggest drawing out the picture, actually, and counting it out. That's going to be the easiest way because it can be a little bit tricky. Just FYI, because you will have to do that on your homework assignment. So get a piece of paper, draw it out, count over the line of reflection, make sure that the 2 points, your image and your pre-image, are the same distance away from the line of reflection. Alright, now on letter D, kind of the same thing here. I go back to my pre-image color, black. We have the trapezoid RSTV, and now we're going to reflect it over x equals negative 2. So, I'm going to start with just drawing the trapezoid again. So, R is at negative 1, 1. S is at 4, 1. T is at 4, negative 1. And V is at negative 1, negative 3. I'm going to connect those to draw my lopsided trapezoid. Alright, then we are reflecting this over the line x equals 2. So once again, here's your y-axis, here's your x-axis. I'm finding 2 on the x-axis. Here is positive 2 on the x-axis. I'm going to draw a vertical line through that. I know that is hard to get through your head, so I'm going to write actually out here a little note. When you have x equals, this is a vertical line. That's opposite of what we're used to thinking. When you have y equals, that is a horizontal line. The reason being it is crossing through the axis. All right, so I have my line of reflection here at x equals 2. So you'll notice R and V are on the left side. That means their images are going to be on the right side. They flip sides. S and T are currently on the right side. That means their images are going to be on the left side. So I'm going to start with R and V. R, I'm going to count how far away it is from x equals 2. It's 1, 2, 3 units away. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 units the other direction and label that R prime. V is also 3 units away, so I'm going to count 3 units in the other direction and label that V prime. Now S and T are on the right side, so I know their images are going to be on the left side. So S is 1, 2 units away. That means it's 2 units away on the other side. I'm going to label that S prime. Same with T. T's 2 units away. So my new version of T, the image of T, is over on the left side there. Once I have those drawn, I connect them to make the image of my trapezoid. So you have your pre-image and image. Sometimes your pre-image and image overlap, just like we saw on one of the previous examples, and that's okay. All right, then the last thing that we're learning is reflecting over the figure, or reflecting a figure over y equals x. I'm going to switch back to my black. So the rule, to reflect a figure in the line y equals x, interchange the x and the y values. So xy becomes yx. For example, if you had 3, 4 to reflect it, I would use the point 4, 3. So on letter A, it says triangle BCD has vertices B at -3, 3, C at 1, 4, and D at -2, -4. It says graph triangle BCD and the reflection over y equals x of BCD. So I'm going to plot those points first of all. B is at -3, 3. So back 3, up 3. There's letter B. C is at 1, 4. So over 1, up 4. And D is at -2, -4. So if I connect those, I have my triangle. All right, so what the heck does it even mean, first of all, to reflect over the line y equals x? Y equals x is this diagonal line that goes through the origin. Okay, it goes diagonally through the origin or point 0, 0, okay, where you start your graph. It can be tricky to see this one, as you can tell, because it's a diagonal line. So it's a little bit harder to figure out where to put your image points. Okay, so like B prime, C prime, D prime. It's hard to figure that out. That's why I would stick to using this rule right here. Okay, doing it using the points instead. It is harder to do this one visually. So, for example, I know that point B is at -3, 3. That's given in the problem. Okay, I'm just using this information. That means B prime, my image of B, all I'm going to do is interchange the x and the y value there. So this becomes 3, -3. I just flipped around the x and the y. C is at 1, 4. So I know C prime is going to be at 4, 1. Again, just flip the x and the y. D is at -2, -4. D prime is at -4, -2. Now you have your 3 new points that you're going to plot. So B prime is at 3, -3. Here's B prime. Yes, you're going to be like, are you sure this is a mirror image? Yes, it works out. I promise. You'll see it in the end. C prime is at 4, 1. And D prime is at -4, -2. Go ahead and connect those. It's a little bit harder to see this reflection. I wish I could do this in person, but if you turn your head at a 45-degree angle so that you're looking it almost looks like that diagonal line is actually just an up and down line, you'll be able to see the reflection then. You'll see how they're pretty symmetrical. Alright, so there's your reflection over the line y equals x. Then on letter B, go back to my pre-image color. On letter B, it says quadrilateral ABCD has coordinates A at 2, 2, B at 4, 1, C at 3, negative 3, and D at 0, negative 4. Graph and label ABCD and the reflection over the y-axis for ABCD. So now we're going to go back to what we learned in the previous video over the y-axis, just as a refresher. So I'm going to go ahead and plot all 4 of those points to make my quadrilateral. A is at 2, 2. B is at 4, 1. C is at 3, negative 3. And D is at 0, negative 4. Alright, then what I'm going to do is reflect it over the y-axis. So I'm going to draw a dotted line along the y-axis so you can see what we're reflecting over. And then I'm going to count it out just like normal. D is already on the line, so that means my image of D is also on the line. C is 1, 2, 3 away, so I'm going to count 3 to the left and label that C prime. B is 1, 2, 3, 4 units away from the y-axis. So I'm going to count 4 units to the left. That's B prime. A is 1, 2 units away. I'm going to count 2 units to the left. Label that A prime. Connect my 4 dots to make a new quadrilateral. And there you have your reflection. Just a quick note on your online homework, a lot of it is multiple choice. Don't think that it's super easy because of that. Be very careful. Count out how far away the reflections are from the given line of reflection and really pay attention to the instructions. Good luck. Again, if you have questions, just email me or schedule a Google Hangout with me.